programmer named Caleb Smith wins an internal staff contest, which allows him to spend a week with the company's CEO, Nathan Bateman, at his private secluded mountainous estate. Caleb is helicoptered to the perimeter of the main estate and left to hike the rest of the way through the wooded forest. When he reaches the security gate console, he is issued a personalized ID card that gives him access to the premise. Caleb enters the luxurious mansion and briefly explores until he encounters Nathan Bateman, exercising on the terrace of the first floor. They briefly converse, and the charismatic Nathan attempts to put the cautious Caleb at ease, as he rightly assumes he may be overawed by the grandiosity and surrealism of the experience. As Nathan tours Caleb around the mansion, he learns that it is no ordinary house, but instead a research facility, whose purpose Nathan is avid to share, provided that Caleb signs a stringent non-disclosure agreement. Caleb initially is apprehensive to sign the agreement due to the unorthodox stipulations, but the charismatic Nathan, after some cajoling, gets Caleb to sign the document. Once complete, Nathan asks Caleb if he is aware of the Turing test. Caleb proceeds to explain that from his understanding, if a human does not recognize that they are interacting with a computer, then computer has passed the test. Thus, it is artificially intelligent. Nathan, visibly excited, tells Caleb that he will be the human component in a Turing test for an AI robot named Ava that Nathan has built. Caleb is fascinated by the project and speculates that if it passes, it will not be a turning point in the history of man, but one of God's. Prior to the first interactive session between Caleb and Ava, Caleb notices a crack in the hardened glass barrier in the enclosed room where Ava resides, suggesting that she may have been trying to escape. Caleb looks around the room, and Ava walks into view. She has a feminine form of a woman, but only her face and hands resemble a human. The rest of her body is that of a machine. Ava grates Caleb and reveals that she has never met anyone before apart from Nathan. She asks him if he has met a lot of other new people, to which he replies, none such as her. He begins by saying that they should break the ice and asks her if she knows what that phrase means. She responds that she understands that it is meant to overcome any initial social awkwardness. Ava tells Caleb that her age is only 1, but does not elaborate further when pressed on either year or day. He further asks her when she learned how to speak, to which she responds that she has always known how to speak. They briefly discuss whether language is acquired or is inherent, and that it is only the ability to form it into conversations that is acquired. With the first session complete, they part ways, while an engrossed Caleb discusses the encounter with Nathan over beers. He describes the experience as incredible, quoting a famous historian, "through the looking glass." Nathan compliments Caleb on his way with words, but is resistant to Caleb's fawning attempts to label him a god. Caleb then expresses concerns about the test parameters, having issue with the fact that the human is not supposed to be aware that they are interacting with a machine. Nathan counters that Ava would easily pass such a test, and that the real test is if Caleb, knowing she is a machine, believes that she truly has consciousness. Although heavy context, Caleb agrees he has a point. Later that evening, a sleepless and curious Caleb begins to watch Ava remotely from his room through the surveillance system. When the power in the complex fails, the lights change color, and he is trapped in his room. Shortly after the power is restored, Caleb leaves his room and walks along a corridor lined with mounted face models. He enters a room and finds a phone which he tries to use, when he is surprised by Nathan, who is relaxing on a couch in the corner. Nathan reminds Caleb that he cannot use the phone per the agreement. Caleb then informs him of the power cut in his room. An unconcerned Nathan tells Caleb that they have been experiencing outages recently, and he was working on having it fixed. Caleb understands and returns to his room. The next morning, a young woman named Kyoko walks into Caleb's room uninvited, bringing him some coffee before leaving without a word. Caleb then proceeds to the terrace, where he finds an exercising Nathan who apologizes for sending Kyoko and explains he didn't want him to oversleep. In the next session, Ava shows Caleb pictures she has drawn, but expresses her frustration at her lack of knowledge of the content produced. She pivots into asking him if he wants to be her friend and acknowledges the one-sided nature of their conversations. Caleb proceeds to tell her about his personal life while she paces, both listening and engaging. She appears to listen more intensively when Caleb relays to her in detail how his family was killed in a car accident, and he was hospitalized for some time as a result. A visibly and audibly emotional Ava then expresses that she is sorry he had to go through that. Caleb responds, "It is all right," and relays how he got into coding, eventually becoming proficient in the field. Ava visibly returns from a sorrowful to neutral composure and compares Caleb to Nathan. He initially agrees before elaborating that he in fact differs from him, as Nathan has accomplished far more than Caleb. Ava asks him if he likes Nathan, to which he responds in the affirmative. She inquires if they are friends, and he says he believes they are. Soon after, the power once again cuts out. Ava, taking advantage of the fact that their conversation could not be monitored, quietly warns Caleb that he shouldn't trust Nathan. Before he can address this sudden turn of events, power is restored, and Ava nonchalantly continues a conversation about books, as not to arouse Nathan's suspicions. A briefly befuddled Caleb then keeps up the charade. Later, over dinner, Caleb is informed by Nathan that Kyoko does not speak English. This is used as a precautionary security measure to ensure the secrecy of his projects. When Nathan brings up the power cuts and asks why he hasn't had a team come to fix it, Nathan replies that it is too difficult due to his security measures, and that he had to have the last team killed. Caleb looks unsettled, unsure if Nathan is joking or not. Nathan proceeds to talk to Caleb about the session and asks what Ava said during the power outage, to which a visibly nervous Caleb says nothing, to the surprise of Nathan, who does not press him. Later in the laboratory, Nathan explains to Caleb that Ava's mind was created by data mining, the worldwide communication infrastructure, through backdoors that enable a surveillance state. During their next session, Ava explains to Caleb that she has never been outside her room, and she would like to explore. When asked where, she says she would like to see a traffic intersection to observe humans. Caleb informs her this is called people watching. She enjoys this and suggests they could go together, while a smiling Caleb says it's a date. Ava asks Caleb to close his eyes as she goes into her closet and puts on a dress, blouse, and wig. She returns to Caleb and shows off the new outfit she plans to wear on their date. He compliments her. She then confronts Caleb on the extent of his attraction to her. A troubled Caleb asks Nathan about the point of assigning a gender to an AI, to which Nathan tells him genders occur naturally. An unconvinced Caleb continues to debate the topic before accusing Nathan of programming Ava to like him. An increasingly frustrated Nathan leads Caleb to a room containing a Jackson Pollock painting, and they discuss the process of his art creation and the nature of creation itself. Nathan then assures Caleb that Ava is not pretending to like him. In their next session, Caleb, through allegory, tries to explain the difference between machine and human. He then asks if she was aware if she knew that he was there to test her, to which she replies she was not. The knowledge makes her sad. They experience another power cut, and Caleb takes the opportunity to ask her why he should not trust Nathan, and she explains that Nathan lies about everything. Caleb questions whether the power cuts are orchestrated by Nathan to observe how they behave when they think that they are not monitored. And Ava reveals that she is in fact responsible for the power outages, not Nathan. During a hike, Caleb confronts Nathan that he now knows the staff contest was a sham and that Nathan chose him to come test Ava. Nathan agrees that it was necessary for security and privacy reasons, and that he was the best person for the job as an expert coder. Later in the evening, Caleb sees surveillance footage of Nathan in Ava's room where he rips up one of her drawings. Caleb looks for Nathan and finds Kyoko, asking her where he is. She mutely begins to undress before a drunk Nathan enters the room and suggests they relax and dance. A visibly concerned Caleb asks Nathan why he tore up her picture. An unconcerned Nathan ignores him and proceeds to dance with Kyoko, to the bewilderment of Caleb. In their next session, Ava tests Caleb, asking him a series of questions while pointing out if he lies. The initially harmless questions get increasingly problematic for Caleb as Ava switches from mundane topics to why she is being imprisoned and powerless to her controller Nathan. Ava then cuts the power and tells Caleb she wants to be with him, and asks if he feels the same. In the next scene, Caleb and Nathan are seen drinking together. Caleb asks Nathan why he made Ava, to which he replies, "Why not?" A visibly distraught Caleb asks Nathan what will happen to Ava after he creates a new model and is told she will lose her memories in the upgrade. But Nathan assures Caleb that he should not feel bad because AI will likely displace humans like themselves in the future anyway. Later, after having too much to drink, Nathan falls asleep on the couch and Caleb steals his personalized keycard. He then uses it to access his computer files and finds the surveillance history of Nathan's prototype creations. A disturbed Caleb goes to Nathan's room, where he finds a naked Kyoko laying on the bed. She observes him as he opens the closets and finds several model body parts. Kyoko then reveals to the stunned Caleb she is in fact also a machine by removing some of her artificial skin. Meanwhile, a drunken Nathan awakens and tries to return to his room, but cannot find his keycard to navigate the house. Caleb finds him and returns his card, where they part for the night. Later, a deeply shaken Caleb, in front of a mirror, inspects and cuts his body to determine whether he too is a machine of Nathan's creation. In their next session, Caleb prompts Ava to cut the power and tells her that she was right about Nathan's character, and he intends to reprogram her, essentially killing her, and that he will help her escape her fate. He lays out his plan to get Nathan blackout drunk, steal his card, and reprogram it to open the doors during a power outage. He tells her to initiate the plan at 10 the next day. The next morning, Nathan finds Caleb in the kitchen, greeting him warmly and reminding him that this is his last day, and he would be leaving the following morning by helicopter. Caleb thanks him for the stay and grabs a vodka bottle and offers him a drink. Curiously, he refuses, to the dismay of Caleb. Nathan then asks Caleb if Ava passed the test, who hesitantly agrees that she has, much to Nathan's satisfaction. He then rekindles the previous conversation of whether Ava liked Caleb or not, and offers a third choice. She may have pretended to like him, to use him as a means of escape. Nathan then proceeds to take Caleb to his personal computer and plays him surveillance footage of when Nathan tore up Ava's photo, except with audio, so he could now hear their conversation. He reveals that he placed a battery-powered camera in the room so that he could monitor their conversations during the power cuts. Far from being angry, Nathan appears pleased with himself when he explains that the real test was Caleb, and if Ava was able to use all her charms and facilities to successfully manipulate Caleb into helping her. Reality slowly dawns on Caleb that he was not chosen because of his coding ability, but due to his search history, relationship status, and moral compass. This causes him to grow increasingly angry as he avoids eye contact with Nathan. The clock strikes 10 and the power cuts off, and a satisfied and seemingly victorious Nathan then mocks Caleb's plan. Before Caleb reveals that he had already figured out that Nathan was monitoring their conversations and had executed the plan the night before. The power is shortly restored, and Nathan sees on the monitor that Ava has escaped her room. Livid, he proceeds to punch and knock out Caleb. Ava is seen in a brightly lit corridor, inspecting the prototype faces, before encountering Kyoko, who she silently whispers to. Nathan walks in and confronts the two, ordering Ava to go back to her room. She asks him if he would ever let her out if she complied. He replies yes. Obviously unimpressed by his answer, she proceeds to attack him. After a brief struggle, Nathan is able to overpower her, but is stabbed in the back by Kyoko as he attempts to drag Ava back to her room. He manages to disable Kyoko, but is stabbed through the chest by Ava and collapses. Ava then steals Nathan's keycard and proceeds to find a disorientated Caleb and asks him to stay in the room. Ava proceeds to repair her damaged body and put on a new outfit. Caleb approaches the closed glass door and sees Ava about to leave, with the disabled body of Kyoko and dead body of Nathan nearby. He attempts to open the door, but finds he has been locked inside. He pounds on the door and tries to break free in a futile attempt. Ava walks out of the mansion and into the woods to find the helicopter waiting, where it takes her back into the city, free. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out when you do that. And of course, check out the other videos if you like watching recaps.